Hello, friends. Welcome to Tathya Current Affairs. Let's begin history as on 7th August. This is part 1 of the series. 1792 Creation of the Purple Heart, one of the most recognizable military decorations in the US. It was awarded to service members who have been wounded or killed in war. The origins trace back to the American Revolutionary War. It is deeply connected to General George Washington. George Washington was the commander in chief of the Continental Army. This represents a democratization of military honors in the United States. Washington's vision has endured, and the Purple Heart continues to honor the brave. Washington called this award the Badge of Military Merit. It was designed as a heart-shaped purple cloth edged with a narrow binding. It is intended to be worn over the left breast, meant to recognize enlisted soldiers for their unusual gallantry during the battle. It is also meant to recognize extraordinary fidelity and essential service in any capacity. It is basically different from European traditions where only officers are usually recognized for their actions. The intent basically is to honor the bravery and sacrifice of all the soldiers, irrespective of any ranks. The design and recipients, the heart shape chosen was basically to symbolize courage and dedication. The purple color was traditionally associated with royalty and valor. Only three soldiers are believed to have received the badge of military merit. It is believed to be received by non-commissioned officers during the Revolutionary War. The names who have received this badge are as under Sergeant Elijah Churchill, Sergeant William Brown, and Sergeant Daniel Bissell. Dormancy and revival. After the Revolutionary War, badge fell into disuse and was not awarded for many, many years. The concept, however, remained a part of the military tradition. It was revived on the bicentennial of George Washington's birth in 1932. It was revived largely to the efforts of General Douglas MacArthur. It basically retained the heart shape and purple color, but was redesigned as a medal. The medal features a bust of Washington and his family with a coat of arms. It is basically considered as one of the most respected military honors in United States. It symbolizes bravery, sacrifice, and suffering of American service members. It is awarded to those wounded or killed in combat. It continues the legacy of recognizing sacrifices of soldiers that Washington started in 1782. It remains a potent symbol of American military service. It is respected not only within the armed forces but by the public as well. In 1942, the Battle of Guadalcanal. It lasted from 1940, August 7, 1942 till February 9, 1943. It was a significant military campaign during World War II. It marked the first major offensive by Allied forces against the Empire of Japan. It was a pivotal moment in the Pacific theater of the war. It demonstrated the importance of arms operation involving land, sea, and air forces, the significance of controlling key areas in the Pacific region, and the role of logistics in the military operations were very important and vital. The battle also highlighted the resilience of both the American and the Japanese forces. So, what was the strategic importance? Guadalcanal is one of the Solomon Islands in South Pacific. It is strategically located to control sea routes between the USA, Australia, and Japan. The Japanese forces had occupied the island by mid 42, 1942, and they began constructing Henderson Airfield to show their power and threaten the Allied supply lines. The Allies, which were primarily led by USA, aimed to stop completing the airfield. Seizing of the Guadalcanal by the USA was very crucial for halting the expansion and the beginning of the counteroffensive against the Japanese forces. So, what was the sequence of the battle? The initial invasion, which started in 1942, August 7, the US Marines basically landed on Guadalcanal in a surprise assault. Japanese forces, which were taken off guard, were initially unable to mount an defense. This allowed the Allies to capture the airfield very quickly. The second step was prolonged combat. What began as a very swift victory soon turned into a prolonged and brutal battle. The Japanese forces launched numerous counterattacks by land, sea, and air. They were determined to recapture the island and its strategic airfield. Next was the naval battles took place. Water surrounding Guadalcanal became a site of fierce naval battles. This included the battles of Savo Island and the naval battle of Guadalcanal. Both sides, the American and the Japanese, suffered significant losses. The Allies managed to maintain control over sea routes necessary to resupply the forces. The Henderson Field. The Henderson Airfield was a focal point of this conflict. The Japanese forces launched repeated air raids and ground assaults to reclaim the airfield. Allies successfully defended the airfield, allowing them to launch air operations, thus disrupted Japanese supply lines and troop movements. What was the outcome of this war? The withdrawal of the Japanese army took place by early 1943. They were exhausted and they suffered significant casualties. Recognizing the futility of further resistance, they began the withdrawal in February 1943. Successful defense and control of Guadalcanal was the first major land victory for the Allies forces. It shifted balance of power, placing Japan on the defensive for the remainder of the World War. The turning point. The battle is considered a turning point in the Pacific theater. It marked transition from defensive operations by the Allies to offensive ones. It paved way for subsequent campaigns that would eventually lead to Japan's defeat. Thank you so much, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.